O2L, the YouTuber group that consisted of members Connor Franta, JC Kalen, Kian Lawley, Ricky Dillon, Trevi Moran, and Sam Podorf. They were only active for around 2 years in 2012 to the end of 2014, but it felt way longer. O2L, which stands for Our Second Life, was one of the early YouTuber groups known for their weekly themed videos, large teenage girl fan base, and energetic and fun group dynamics. Not only did they run a successful YouTube channel together, but they also went on a month-long US tour and got their own dedicated documentary called O2L Forever. But before they could even hit their true peak and start to decline in popularity, the group just disbanded. So what happened to O2L? Today we're getting into their rise, their breakup, their mini reunions, the tea that has been shared about the behind the scenes of their O2L days, and the controversies that past members have gone through since they disbanded. And with all that said, let's get into it. So again, O2L was a group of 6 YouTubers: Connor, JC, Kian, Ricky, Trevi, previously known as Trevor, and Sam. At the start, Trevi was the youngest at age 14, Sam and Kian were 17, and the rest of the members were 20. They first met on YouTube back when YouTube still had messaging on the platform, so somehow they all started messaging on YouTube and they decided to stay together in the same hotel room for VidCon, just completely sardine style, all in one room. They all became good friends, and Sam has said that he thinks Connor was the one who came up with the idea to start a group channel. Initially, there were actually 7 of them, but there was some drama and it's a little messy. So in the beginning, the 6 members were Connor, JC, Ricky, Trevi, Sam, and another guy named Ricardo, who was JC's friend that he also made videos with. Ricardo ended up leaving the group after about 8 months. He said that it was to pursue his own career ambitions and that no drama went down, but there is an alleged Tumblr post by Ricky that called Ricardo a rude, two-faced fake person who used us for everything. I cannot confirm the legitimacy of this post since all I saw was a screenshot, not the post itself, but what I can confirm is that in a later O2L reunion, Ricky does say that there was a time that Ricardo tried to get everyone to kick Trevi out of the group, but Ricardo stood up for her. So maybe there was some kind of mix between some drama and just changing personal interests. And even though Ricardo was in the group for the first 8 months, he's kind of referred to as the forgotten O2L member, which I think is pretty true because in all of the future reunions, he's not there and people don't really tend to bat an eye. So then with Ricardo out, Kian officially joins in, which could just be a coincidence. It's been joked by other members that Kian was not interested in joining O2L until he saw it gain some success. And soon, JC, Connor, Kian, and Ricky move into an apartment together in SoCal. Sam and Trevi did not live with the rest of them. Sam has said that sometimes they felt left out because of it, but ultimately he didn't want to live with Kian because he's the worst roommate. So the way the channel worked was they all had their own days that they were in charge of posting something. It caused some hostility amongst members when one person would miss a day or be late. They have all admitted that it was not the most organized system. They were all also under separate management, so it made things more complicated with everyone working hard to protect their own interests. Despite the bit messy behind the scenes, O2L was actually super successful. They hit around 3 million subscribers within their first year, but now they sit around 2.7 million after losing subscribers over time. They were so popular that they had a tour around the United States where they would hold shows that involved them singing, dancing, and doing challenges. They talk to and interact with the audience and bring people on stage, their audience base being majority teenage girls. Ricky and Sam have expressed the sentiment that this tour was a huge highlight in their lives. They even had songs produced like the O2L song by Charlie Puth. Yes, Charlie Puth. I did not make this connection until researching for this video. The song is super cheesy. It goes through each member and like shouts them out, but honestly, it was a good song for what it was trying to do. The tea behind the song is that they were supposed to record singing it themselves and even have a music video for it, but they never got to it because the group disbanded. They would perform a dance to the song at the end of each tour show. Also, during their popularity, Trevi produced multiple songs and she's still releasing music. Ricky also released his own songs and collabed with other artists like Snoop Dogg, but despite their interest in music, O2L was never a music group. They also had a documentary called O2L Forever that was released in June 2015, but filmed the year prior. The documentary centered around the lives before and during their big tour. JC and Ricky have both released videos of them reacting to the movie years later, talking about old memories and expressing a lot of nostalgia for that time period. Some of their most popular videos were the Hunger Games eating contest video with JC and Kian, where they raced to eat different foods, Connor's How to Know If a Guy Likes You video, which which is a classic talking style video, and an exploding watermelon challenge with JC, Kian, and Ricky, where they wrap a watermelon with a ton of rubber bands until it blows up. All of these videos got over 4 million views, which 4 million views today, crazy, but 4 million views back then is really insane. O2L members were making bank at the time, some more than others. Connor has admitted that the way they ran things was pretty messy with money coming into play. Since they all had different managers, the managers would always be fighting over money. The members actually didn't split the money from the O2L channel evenly, it would be per video. Everyone would only get money for their videos on the channel, and some people would get upset about it. To get an idea of how much money they were making, at peak for just himself, Sam said that he would make around 50 to 100K a month from the O2L channel and his personal channel combined. And no shade to Sam, but he was not the most popular O2L member, so I can't really imagine how much the other members were making. He said it was more than enough money to be making back then, but he thinks that they should have made even more. Trevi has also spoken about this in one of her podcast episodes, saying that they were all screwed over by the companies that owned their documentary and the brands that worked with them, since back then brand deals were not what they are today. For example, they had a collaboration with Taco Bell where they visited a Taco Bell headquarters and hosted a meet and greet with over 4,000 fans, and they didn't get paid at all. They really paved the way. I mean, before brand deals with YouTubers were mainstream, there was little to no resources to figure out how to be properly compensated and what the worth was behind the online influence they had. If something like this were to happen in 2025, things would be completely different. Although they were making a lot of money, it's questionable how responsible they all were with it. From my research from our previous video on Gen X Pen and Andrea Russet, looking into these early YouTuber days has been really interesting. All of these people being a part of the early formation of YouTuber being a real job, while also being teenagers or young adults, navigating how to make the career something sustainable. It's a really impactful era of the internet. O2L didn't really have a downfall, it just came to an end. In July 2014, less than a month after they finished their tour, Connor posts a video titled A New Chapter on the O2L channel, where he announces that he's leaving the group but will still be posting on his personal channel. In the video, he stresses how viewers only see a small part of his real life, and behind the scenes, he's actually been dealing with a lot and has been pretty unhappy for the last 6 months. And all of that has been affecting his content and his creativity. YouTube started feeling more and more like a job to him, and he hated that. He says the O2L members are all family to him, and it's not fair to anyone if he continues on in the group feeling like this and just brings everyone down. He just has to do this for himself and to prioritize his happiness. The channel does continue on with the rest of the 5 members, but it only lasts about 6 months. By the end of the year in December 2014, O2L posts a video titled This Is Not Goodbye, where they essentially say goodbye. But just to O2L though, you can still support everyone on their individual channels. They say they're all working on their own projects, and basically that they don't want to half-ass the O2L channel, so they just want to end things on a high note. They say that they're all still best friends, and they thank everyone for the support, and then the channel ends after each member posts an individual final goodbye video. Earlier that same month, Connor had posted a coming out video on his own channel where he shares publicly that he's gay. So since all of this went down, we actually have gotten a lot more context about what went down behind the scenes that led to this abrupt end. So basically, the story goes that on their last day of tour rehearsals, Connor messages their group chat saying that he wants to talk to everyone. During the rehearsal, there's this elephant in the room and some awkward tension, but then afterwards, Connor brings all the members in a room away from any cameras or filming crew to talk. There were cameras around because this was during the filming of their O2L Forever documentary. Which, side note, I'm really surprised that they let them have that conversation off camera, because I feel like nowadays, if they're filming a reality TV show or a documentary, they would not let you talk about something in private because they want all the tea and all the drama. So in that private room, Connor tells everyone that he's moving out of the shared house, he's quitting O2L, and he's gay. He's still gonna do the tour with them, but he's planning on quitting a month after the tour ends. In a Q&A video from 2020, Connor opened up about how at the time he had a ton of issues going on behind the scenes, including undiagnosed depression and anxiety. He was feeling ready to move out. He was having trouble managing his new fame and job, and just having to juggle his YouTube channel with O2L's YouTube channel. It all built up into this moment where he realized that he needed to cut something off his raft, otherwise he was gonna sink. And when Connor told the members he was leaving, there wasn't much drama. The other members just accepted it and handled it pretty well. So there's no real tea about Connor leaving that has anything to do with drama between Connor and the other members. It was really just a decision that he had made for himself. So even after Connor left, the 5 members did try to continue on. Sam has shared in a video that Kian and JC didn't really want to continue because they felt it wasn't the same without Connor and that they really wanted to end the channel on a high note. He kind of shades them and says that everyone knows that they wanted to start their own channel, so it feels like maybe JC and Kian felt like without Connor helping bring up O2L, they could find more success just dedicating their time into their own shared channel. Sam also shared that he, Trevi, and Ricky still wanted to keep going with the channel and they didn't want to stop O2L, but without Kian and JC on board, they thought it was also best to just leave it alone. JC and Kian had said that they were okay with everyone else continuing without them, but the rest of them thought it would be weird to only have 3 out of the 6 original members, so they just all called it quits. Sam says that this was a pretty difficult time for him and admits being a bit depressed after it all ended. I get a similar vibe from what Ricky has said about O2L years later, that it was hard for them to adjust to how things changed after the height of O2L, and it makes total sense because they really were put on this pedestal at the time. Connor was ready to step back and that's why he left, but not everyone else was, and that feeling could give you a lot of what if thoughts. In 2015, Trevi came out as gay, but later in 2020 came out that she's actually a transgender woman, and that's when she announced that she would be going by her name Trevi instead of previously being known as Trevor. Also in 2020, Ricky came out as gay. These were all announced on their personal channels in dedicated videos at the time. So since O2L disbanded, they have had some reunions. In 2016, JC and Trevi reacted to some old O2L videos together, and Ricky and Trevi collaborated telling old stories from the O2L days. In 2017, we have a much larger reunion of Kian, JC, Trevi, Ricky, and Sam since they were all in Amsterdam for Sam's wedding. They filmed multiple videos on each other's channels, reacting to old videos, roasting each other, reading mean comments, and doing a touch my body challenge. A lot of people commented that they were disappointed that Connor was missing. In 2018, we get more reunion collabs with the same 5 members, still missing Connor. They posted videos answering questions, recreating old O2L photos, and doing O2L carpool karaoke. They also mentioned that there's no tea about Connor leaving the group, and they all joke about it now. And whenever they film O2L reunion stuff, people get mad at them for not including Connor, but they say he's always invited. In 2019, we don't get anything, but in 2020, we get something pretty iconic. During COVID social distancing and staying home, they had an O2L reunion via an Among Us charity live stream. Everyone was a part of this, even Connor. Okay, I guess not technically everyone because Ricardo was not here, but he's never mentioned. This was when Among Us was a huge game to stream, which if you don't know what Among Us is, it's an online game where you play with friends to complete tasks, but some people are imposters that are killing other players and sabotaging the team. It was a stream to help support the charity called The Right Way, which helps people dealing with homelessness and the foster care system. People were super surprised that Connor participated since he was always missing in the prior reunions. It seems like there was a shift after 2020 where Connor was more comfortable talking about O2L days and also hanging out with members and making collab videos. Since then, I haven't seen a video collab featuring more than 2 past members together in the same room. In March and April 2021, Ricky made a video on his own channel reacting to old O2L videos, and he said that they were going to film a group collab in person since they had reached their donation goal during their charity live stream. He said it would be posted on the O2L channel and that they would film it once everyone was able to come together with no more lockdown restrictions. But it's 2025 and we never get that collab. In 2022 and 2023, JC and Connor posted multiple collabs together talking about O2L days, but there's not really any major takeaway from them that we haven't already heard or covered in other parts of this video. So that's pretty much how O2L ended. There doesn't really seem to be any bad blood between the members, except possibly Ricardo since he's not a part of any of these reunions. So now let's discuss some of the big controversies and scandals that have come out with some of the members. In 2015, Connor called out JC and Kian on Twitter for very homophobic jokes. The story goes that JC and Kian had some friend named Joseph Hernandez, which I have no idea who that guy is. So essentially, they hacked Joseph's Twitter account and made him post jokes about coming out and being gay. Very stupid and homophobic shit. Joseph then tweeted this, saying that it was Kian, and later JC also took responsibility for it. Connor then seemingly responded to this happening with a subtweet saying it's 2015, being racist, sexist, or homophobic homophobic in any way does not make you cool, it's not funny, and should not be joked about. The sooner everyone can grasp that simple concept, the better. Let's progress into an inclusive future that embraces differences and diversity. Which, yes, pop off. And Kian ended up kind of apologizing, but honestly, this tweet is still kind of stupid to me. And JC responded even worse, going on a Twitter rant about how he's not homophobic because many of his friends are gay. I'm not saying that they haven't changed from this point. It's been 10 years, but this was not it. In 2018, an old video of Kian was posted online that had him saying the N-word. What's incredibly ironic is that during this time, he was cast in a movie called The Hate U Give, which was based on a book by Angie Thomas that addresses themes of racial injustice and police brutality. He ended up getting fired from the movie, and he tweeted out an apology for his prior actions and said that he respects the decision to recast his role. There are anonymous stories on Reddit of past fans being invited to hang out and party with Kian and JC despite them being very young. I mean, we know that their OG fan base was mostly teenage girls, and allegedly this goes on even past O2L days when Kian and JC were on tour together for their own projects with just the two of them. Take it with a grain of salt because these are anonymous stories being shared on Reddit, but I'm just putting it out there that this is a sentiment that has been shared and echoed online. JC has also been put on blast by Tana Mojo when she spoke in her podcast about how at 17 she was hooking up with YouTubers that were very manipulative, and she said shout out to Cody Ko and JC Kalen. Tana was 17 and Cody would have been 25 and JC would have been 23. But later that clip of her was edited out of the episode. This led to people also pointing out collabs between JC and Tana where JC seemed a bit creepy or flirty towards her, like in a video titled Sexual Dirty Truth or Dare on Tana's channel in 2016. Tana being 18 that year and JC being 24. Look, you cannot convince me that a 24-year-old and an 18-year-old together is an okay age gap. You just can't. 6 years is fine in my opinion once both people are fully adults, but 18 is not fully adult. In the video, they also reference a controversy around Polaroids that got leaked of JC and Kian during one of their tours. Apparently in these Polaroids, they were grabbing the asses of these girls, and JC says he doesn't know the names of them. The girls were allegedly naked in the photos, and he says that one of them was a stripper and that they didn't do anything sexual with them. I have not seen these photos. I actually couldn't even find people talking about it when the controversy was active and happening. Just some threads with people talking about how they remember the controversy from years ago. But I do believe that this was legit because JC is literally addressing it in this video and talking about it himself. Another weird thing about JC is that he dated Leah Marie Johnson when she was 17 or 18 and he was 21 or 22. I know Leah from her time on the Kids React show on YouTube, and she was also a frequent collaborator on Awesomeness TV. In 2023, she opened up about her struggles after her Kids React fame, including her journey with drug addiction and DV. She mentions how her boyfriend when she was 17 strangled her, and while she didn't name names, a lot of people pointed out that the timeline fit when she was with JC. To be clear, this was never confirmed, it's just netizen talk online, but the controversy around JC doesn't stop here. Near the end of 2023, JC accidentally leaked his search history while he was streaming and revealed that he had searched for leaked OF content and explicit photos of people that he knew personally. Many of them were friends and some even close friends of his fiance at the time. In his apology, he says he searched those things out of pure curiosity and he disrespected some people. He said that he effed up and he called his friends and apologized to them, and he's talked to his fiance about things and she's been gracious and forgiving. According to him, everything's fine between him and his friends and him and his fiance. He says he messed up, but his priority was to make sure that things were okay with his partner and his friends, and those things seem to be okay, so it's all good. And people doubted that his partner would really be okay with it because that is really traumatizing to find out, but they are still together and have a child now, so I guess it did work out. You can call me a hater, but personally, if I knew that my man was looking up OF content of my friends, it's done. It's a wrap. It's over. Now for some much less serious tea, this happened just last year in 2024. There was a video with Joey Graceffa and his ex-boyfriend Daniel Preda, where Daniel said that he used to be jealous of Connor but then realized that he was the most boring person ever. And Connor responded in a TikTok video going off about how Daniel has been obsessed with him for years, with Daniel subtweeting him and keeping his name in his mouth the entire time for some reason. And then he ends the video by iconically saying, "If my my crime is being boring, your crime is being nothing. Since everyone only knows Daniel as Joey's ex, Daniel then responded on TikTok saying that Connor ate him up, and the vibe is that he's just insinuating it was all just lighthearted and a joke, but we all know that he was serious at the time and he's just backpedaling. So what now? Connor is still a YouTuber, an activist, entrepreneur, and author. He still posts on YouTube with talking style videos. He published a memoir in 2015 called A Work in Progress, followed by another edition called Note to Self in 2017 that focused more on his reflection of his internal life. And he released another in 2021 called House Fires that explores themes of transformation and personal growth. Some tea is that he co-founded a music label in 2015 called Heard Well, but at the end of 2024 he took legal action against his co-founders, alleging that they embezzled over $1 million from the company, which led to financial instability. That case is ongoing. One fun connection to our previous What Happened To video, Connor and Arden Rose are close friends, and Connor attended Arden's wedding last year. JC still regularly live streams on Twitch. He's married and has a kid. After O2L, Kian did some acting in films and shows, and his last video on his personal YouTube channel was around 5 months ago. He became a dad a little over a year ago and posts more often on his family YouTube channel, although that has also kind of taken a pause in the recent few months. A few years ago, JC and Kian produced a pretty successful reality TV show called Reality House on YouTube that had 3 seasons. Their channel actually continued to perform really well up until they stopped posting about a year ago. I'm not really sure why they stopped. It could be related to Kian becoming a dad and their priorities shifting. They had also mentioned how it was really expensive to run, so maybe in the end it just didn't make sense business-wise to continue. Ricky still regularly live streams on Twitch and posts highlights on his second YouTube channel. He also recently started posting again on his main channel some talking style videos. He's also talked openly about his own mental health challenges and has used his platform to advocate for mental health awareness and anti-bullying campaigns. Trevi still produces music, and she's not really active on her personal YouTube channel anymore, with her last video being about a year ago. She now co-hosts a podcast called 6 Feet Above. She's also shared her journey getting sober and dealing with addiction. She has a video on her channel with Tana from 2022 where they talk about their friendship fallout in relation to Trevi dealing with addiction and going through other personal issues in her life. In that same video, Trevi brings up a really good point about how these early YouTubers or internet stars were growing up with fame and a lot of money, but not so much support or teams or people around them who knew how to navigate any of it, which could be a contributing factor to a lot of these early stars dealing with mental health problems or addictions. I feel like it's just been in the recent few years that there's been more talk around mainstream child stars not getting proper support, and I imagine that it's even less when it comes to internet child stars. And lastly, for Sam, he's not active on YouTube anymore. The last time I saw him on a podcast was in 2023, where he says that he does social media marketing now and he's really into cars. So he said that if he did come back to make content, it would be car related. And everyone is just living their life. With that, we've reached the end of the video. Thank you so much for making it this far. This was an oldie but a goodie, and actually had some concrete answers since members were delivering the tea and the story times that we wanted. Please like and subscribe to support the channel, and leave any and all requests down below. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye!